Hi, Georgie. Aren't you going to say hello? Oh, come on, bucko. Don't you want a balloon?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Scary Stories by the Campfire. We are your counselors this evening, Jason,
And Jeremy.
and we are going to be talking about the second half of the Stephen King miniseries, It. Jeremy, take it away.
So, if anybody knows kind of where we stopped last time, on last week's episode, we stopped right when Stan offed himself. Literally, just offed himself. And he cut his arm with a razor blade and wrote on the wall, It, right? He wrote on the wall. And that's what he was talking about. This clown that we're looking at right here between us, Jason? So as soon as that passes, we get into one of the best scenes in the entire movie. It's the first, in my opinion, because there's a close second, and we'll get to that one. But it comes to my favorite scene. Richie, as an adult, going in the library. And I have to say, I like the second half of this movie better than I like the first. Overall.
I don't know about that. I mean, overall, this series, as it's gone through, because we've actually this was considered a movie when Jeremy got it. It was about 3 hours long, so we split it in half. That's why we're doing the second part. And it's been a while since I've seen it, and when we watched it, I'm gonna be brutally honest. This didn't hold my attention like very well. I mean, there were some interesting elements, but it just, eh.
It was just so comical.
It was just, yeah. I think that's the problem with it, is that this is supposed to be a horror movie to an extent, and I think maybe at the time when this miniseries came out, it was probably disturbing or frightening or whatnot, but just today it's like I don't know. It I think Tim Curry did a fine job as Pennywise, but I think the problem is that he was too funny.
Yeah, it's something we talked about last time too.
And you can definitely see it in this one. He was just like extra goofy. And how is anyone supposed to be like scared of him? Maybe.
But this is more of the 20 minutes of screen time like we talked about last week.
Yeah,
he definitely has more screen time this go around.
And a lot of times it's not scary at all. He's cracking jokes, or he's, there's the Richie scene where he's in the library,
up on the staircase, or sitting at the top of the stairs on the ledge.
Yeah, and he's telling those stupid little jokes.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do. Well, you better let the poor guy out.
He does that little laugh. He's got a little thing. Then there was the one with Ben in the hotel room.
You know what though? Hold on. I just thought of something, and I don't know why it just occurred to me now. Is it possible that the reason why they wrote him to do that stuff in that particular scene was because Richie is a comedian? And it's showing him a fear of his own thing. He's scaring him with his own personality trait.
Actually, that is a pretty interesting take. I kind of noticed that a little bit, but I was like, nah, that's... But yeah, now that you pointed out, I'm not the only one who thought that. It was that he was using really bad jokes to scare Richie, because Richie a lot of times was doing like those really kind of bad punny jokes. So, um,
I don't know, it just occurred to me that maybe that's why they wrote that scene like that, or why he acted like that. It's supposed to be like I know what you are and I know how you are kind of deals. Like I know you as a person.
yeah, it may explain why every time he goes against Bill, he's always using Georgie,
It,
or why he goes against Richie, he's using like his kind of bad comedic side, where maybe Richie uses jokes as kind of a cover for his own insecurities and whatnot.
or
Um,
just like when he talks to Ben and he's always harping on his weight.
even though that kid was not fat.
Yeah, but that was the second best scene in the entire movie, where he's kissing Beverly
And she's
and,
got the clown pants.
and it pans down and she's wearing the yellow
Clown
clown pants, and he looks up and he's got like the makeup on, and they turn the camera and it's Tim Curry and he's just like, "Kiss me, fat boy."
Yeah, it's just stuff like that. Here's the thing. When we watched the first, because like I said, it's been a very long time since I've watched this like at all, and the first half with the kids and whatnot was a very strong setup. It was setting up. You get that each individual member was getting the phone call, and you got to see kind of like their life as it is, and then you got to see it as it was and how it was affected by Pennywise and what led them to that point. And then it was a build up all the way until the confrontation as adults. My problem is that this second half is actually weaker to me, because there's not much of a payoff. They go into the sewers, they tip the spider over,
They kick it.
and they kick it, and they kind of rip into it, and that's it. That's the movie. And I'm like, so this kind of big bad demonic clown thing, it, who apparently is supposed to be this prevalent entity in all these like Stephen King crossover events or whatever. And all it took was a bunch of average adults to just knock it over and rip it open. Weak is all I'm saying. I mean, a lot of this didn't pay off, like at all. I mean, just think of the bully. He was this threatening bully throughout the whole first half. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. Even like the townspeople, I guess, when they showed him like later on in the second half, the townspeople were even like turning away.
Yeah.
Because apparently they were deciding that Pennywise was the town. It was like affecting everyone. And so what happened to the bully? He ended up in a psychiatric institution, right, Jeremy?
Yep. For admitting to killing all the missing children.
Yeah. So Pennywise shows up in the moon and is like, "Hey, you're gonna go kill you gotta go kill him for me. Go kill him." So what does he do? He gets up and he goes out to kill him. The next time you see him, I'm pretty sure the next time you see him is that he breaks into the apartment, or the hotel room. I mean, he breaks into the hotel room and he ends up stabbing what's his face? The guy who brought them all together?
Mike.
He stabs Mike in the side. And he doesn't even get the kill for that. And then the other Ben and Eddie show up to help him, and he ends up stabbing himself. He like I don't know, he like moves and stabs himself, and then he dies. What kind of payoff is that? There's no satisfying death even for that character. As much as you hate him in the beginning, this was like the weakest. Like,
yeah,
the deaths in these movies were weak, and it might be the product of the time. It was the 1990s, and you know, it was what I'm pretty sure it was like made for TV.
Probably was. I think because it was a TV miniseries.
It was a TV miniseries, so they couldn't show a whole lot. They couldn't do a whole lot. So, I mean, for what it is, it's good, solid, you know, fun. But I just think overall, it could have done more. I mean, I don't even know how the bully died in the book, but, you know, I would presume that there's a little bit more to it than just getting a poke in the ribs and rolling over and dying.
Oh.
And then you know they go into the cave or the sewer system or whatever, and Eddie ends up getting killed by the big giant spider monster, and he just kind of gets squeezed to death and then dropped. So I don't know.
So just a random tidbit, just something cool to think about. Dang, I just lost it. I just had it. Oh my god. Well, when I find it, I'll let you know. But oh no, it's right here. Bill Skarsgård, who plays Pennywise in the new one, right?
Yes.
Okay. He was born the year this movie came out.
Interesting. What year did this movie come out?
I think 1990. Yeah, 1990. So,
wait. So, Bill Skarsgård is younger than me?
Yes.
Oh God, I am.
He's
old.
32.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God, the guy's got.
He might be 33 now, but
the guy's been Pennywise in the remake movies. He's been he was in Deadpool 2 as I don't even know what the guy in that movie he spit up like acidic vomit.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Tim. It's been a couple other things I don't really know quite much. I only know him as Pennywise, even though I've never even watched it. But apparently, the next Pennywise we'll see in the remake is pretty much, from what I've seen nowadays, is like the definitive Pennywise. Like they've forgotten Tim Curry Pennywise is what I'm saying. Any Pennywise you see nowadays is usually Bill Skarsgård. And
another random tidbit of information. Bill Skarsgård his dad plays in The Hunt for Red October with Tim Curry. Just food randomness.
Is there any movies that have Tim Curry and Kevin Bacon?
Huh.
Actually, that wouldn't really work anyway, because you would have to find a movie that Bill Skarsgård played in with his dad, and then his dad would have played with Tim Curry, which Tim Curry would have played with Kevin Bacon. That's the kind of connection you can't just have like random.
So, according to crew members in Pennywise, the story of it, which is like a 2021 documentary about this miniseries, there's 4 people who were top contenders to portray Pennywise prior to the casting of Tim Curry.
All right, let's do some yays and nays.
All right.
Who's the first one?
Harvey Fierstein.
I can't give that a yay or an A because I don't know who that is.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, you want me to tell you who he is? David from Independence Day.
Nay.
David.
Yeah.
Also plays in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I give that a nay.
Roddy McDowell.
Ooh, that name sounds familiar. What's he been in?
He's an older actor. Died in '98. He was in The Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. He played Caesar in The Conquest in '72. Like, he's an older actor. Very, very old.
I give it a...
He played Mr. Soil in A Bug's Life.
Oh, that must have been one of the old ants.
Mr. Soil was the dude who was the tall one who was always writing on stuff, and he was always with the short one.
Oh.
And they were always with the queen.
Oh.
And then Alice Cooper.
Wait. Who is that guy's name? Roddy McDowell?
Yes.
No, PJ Doll. He wasn't a wrestler. That's Roddy Rowdy Piper.
Oh my God, no. No, that would have been funny though. Rowdy Piper as
Take your face back inside and go pack a suitcase. That music video always makes me laugh.
Alice Cooper.
And the last one.
Malcolm McDowell. He is the only one that I could see do an okay job.
Tim Curry all the way.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Tim Curry. I don't think those other actors could have pulled. Well, maybe that's why we're thinking Tim Curry, because we're thinking of the funny aspect of the character.
Well, they actually had somebody else to play Eddie as well. Now, if it would have been adult, or I'm assuming it would have been Kid Eddie. Actually, no, it would have been adult Eddie. Now that I think about it. But they actually had somebody else in mind to play Eddie.
And who was that?
Jim Carrey.
We don't need that. I would have liked to see Jim Carrey get picked up and Jim Carrey get picked up and squeezed by a giant spider monster. That would have been interesting to see, but no, I think the actor who played Eddie did a bang up job with it.
One thing I can honestly say though that was really good about the second half. One thing I liked and one thing I didn't like. One thing I didn't like was still the constant back and forth between the weird flashbacks. This movie is full of just going back and forth, back and forth. The first half is more kid than it is adult, but and the second half is more adult than kid. But it's just back and forth. And I can honestly say that was one of the things that I didn't like. But again, just like the first half, the entire cast does really well.
Yeah, I mean,
for what they're getting.
The cast seemed like they got along, and when they're doing the dinner scene, they're all acting like they're the best friends. You can believe that these people are childhood friends hanging out for the first time in a long while. And then the little weird fortune cookie thing started happening. And I don't know why people were freaking out about it. I mean, one of them was literally just an eye.
It looked like looks like a couple of those like wind up toys you would get in a Halloween McDonald's kids meal.
One of them was what I think is Eddie. He cracked his open and a roach came out. Come on, guys. Everyone's seen a roach. It's not that scary.
Maybe it's the germ aspect of it.
I mean, yeah, because he is a bit of a... Oh, no, that's a good idea. So let's say that the cockroach was a representation of the spread of germs, and Eddie got that in his, right?
Yep.
I guess Bev just has a problem with blood, I guess, because they kept hitting that poor woman in the face with it. Like, she cracked hers open and it's just like a little mini explosion of blood. Richie had the eye, right?
Yeah, because he's got to have all the attention on him.
Yeah, so, Bill had that, what was that, like little pincers or something?
Yeah, maybe supposed to be like a mouth or something.
Like a little stutter?
Yeah.
Ta.
I don't remember what Ben had.
Oh, man. I may need to look that up now.
But I don't know. Like I said, it was little things like that I think they were trying to add in. we look at it as oh my god, it's a cockroach. All right, no more cockroach. But in Eddie, that's that whole spreading of germs thing.
Oh, really? Well, that just ruined it.
Why?
I was trying to find like where maybe they had like a website or something that had like
Oh, probably not.
like the fortune cookies himself. And the first thing it shows is like a video scene. Oh, are you kidding? Oh man, this movie's gonna be terrible. I can already tell. Yeah, I think this is where the Tim Curry movie is gonna outshine the new one, because it looks like the new one is already relying too much on CGI. Like, all I did was type in "it fortune cookies," and the first thing it popped up was it was wanting me to click on a video that showed kind of the fortune cookie scene from the new one, and the still frame was of the eyeball one, and it was just a full CGI eyeball with like the little tentacles, little nerve endings and whatever coming out of it. It wasn't even in a cookie. I'm like, and then it had like this little roach monster. I don't know.
I think that was one of the things. I think that's something that I am going to like about, like you said, the Tim Curry one is the very basic stuff instead of trying to add all the extra stuff. But you know what was funny? Did you notice in the library scene where the balloons are falling around Richie and they're popping?
Mm-hmm.
They explode in the people's faces. They're not supposed to know that it's there, right?
Yeah.
Did you see them flinch every time one would pop?
Well, I mean, that would have to be.
It was just fun, comical to me, because that one woman, you could see her eyes like jump really fast when it popped in her face.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the way it is, because it's something that they didn't fake. They probably actually did drop balloons that popped, and people are always going to flinch. There's not going to be probably anyone out there that just pow and nothing happens. I mean, there could be, but these were people who were literally getting stuff exploded in their face, and not only that, but they were getting like the blood spray. You're gonna react to that.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way you can do it. So, I mean, for what it was, there wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't like doing, type of thing. It was very minimal, I should say. So I think they did a pretty good job with that.
God, this movie's great. It's fun. It's not scary. I could go back and watch it again and laugh even more.
I mean, the movie is not scary. It's not. I'm more interested in seeing what they do with the new one.
So I personally have not seen the second chapter yet.
You haven't seen the second chapter?
I
But
have
technically, not. I have not seen either one of them.
I have seen the first one.
I'm not really. From what I've heard that the first one is really good, but I think it does the same thing that this movie does. In this, like, the second half, it just kind of isn't as good. You would think, and I don't know what. I don't know how they beat. Do you remember how they beat Pennywise in the book?
I don't.
No, because like we said in this one they just kind of.
She injures him by hitting him in the dead lights, so he crawls away.
Yeah, and then they chase him down there, tip him over like he's a sleeping cow, and then rip into him like zombies on a horse. They just start ripping things out of him, and then he just dies. And for something that's supposed to be so scary, so rooted in Derry, I guess, because they had come back around and decided that maybe the town was kind of affected by Pennywise, or the town was Pennywise. For something so evil, he got whooped pretty quick. pretty fast. And he didn't even really fight back. He just kind of crushed Eddie's lungs and then ran away.
That was after everybody. So you got Bill. He's like staring into the dead lights.
Yeah, don't get me started on the Three Stooges.
And then Ben runs over. Bill, we gotta.
Yeah, they just.
And then Richie, guys, we gotta.
He runs right. All three of them. If you guys can't, if you guys are listening on a streaming service or something, what Jeremy's describing is that, I guess when Pennywise is in spider mode and he shows like his chest or his stomach or whatever, he's got the deadlights there, and apparently the deadlights, what do? They like hypnotize you, I guess.
Yeah, put you in some sort of trance,
so that it's easy pickings for him, I guess. And he's shining the light, and Bill looks at it and instantly becomes hypnotized. So Ben runs in to try to unhypnotize him, but stares directly into the light, which in turn freezes him. And Richie comes in to get both of them and looks straight into the light. I'm like, man, these are some of the dumbest people ever. The one thing, the big shiny thing, do not look at, and you look at it. It's not even like they're trying to like shield their eyes. They literally run out there and just put their face into it, like, whoa. And it's like, are you serious, guys? Seriously, big shining light. Don't look at it.
Oh,
do you guys do that with the? Do you guys do that with the sun? You walk out, you see the sun, you're like, oh, and you just stare straight into it. No, you idiots! Don't look at the bright light. God, all three of them in a matter of like 30 seconds.
I don't even think it was 30. I think it was like 15.
They just all ran up there like,
what? Barbara?
Bev's the only one who's like trying to shield her eyes and shoot a slingshot at the same time.
Well, I mean, Audrey didn't have little big ones. She got stuck looking at the little beady eye ones.
Yeah, that went in his eyes or whatever.
What was he saying to her?
I
don't remember. But he's just sitting there. Oh no, I think you'll float too.
No, it wasn't that. It's like something like you'll want it.
Oh,
you want it? You want it?
That's what it was, because he's talking about the balloon. You want it?
No. Ravenfire. No, we're not talking about the kids at the point. These are the adults. I don't know. You may have seen this movie. I know you weren't present at the movie nights. But this movie has a lot of back and forth with like the kid scenes and whatnot. All the kid stuff is flashback.
Yes.
It's done from the adult perspective, but all the flashbacks are kid stuff. And this is at the tail end of the movie where the remaining adults, go into the sewer to kill him once and for all. So, no, I'm not calling the kids idiots. I'm calling the adults idiots.
They were, pretty stupid.
I mean, nonsensically, they like I said. I mean, if you're watching on like Twitch and you can see me, they were literally running in and they're going, huh? And they would look straight into the light. The one thing you don't look at, and then huh?
Richie, we gotta get at it.
Bev's over here in the corner, like I said, she's got the slingshot and she's trying to line up the shot. She's like, "Oh God, please don't let me miss." And then that weird effect. I'm not gonna lie, that was the weirdest effect ever. Cause
it looked like the explosion inside his stomach.
Yeah, it was like watching an explosion through a TV. It's like everything was happening inside his like shining light. It was weird. I don't know. But that's what happens when you're the eater of worlds.
And children.
And children. Yeah.
I guess he couldn't kill him as adults.
That was the thing, because here's the weird thing. Yeah, they were the ones who survived him as kids. Maybe because he wasn't using his deadlights. If he had just had a bright light, they'd all. Yeah, actually, yeah, they were probably smarter as kids than they were as grown-ups. That much is pretty much true. Um,
Yeah, I mean, if you watched the end of the movie, so let me break this down for everybody, because
boy.
the very last like 3 minutes of the movie, Mike is talking about how everybody has forgotten about what's happened, and the only way he can remember is by reading his diary entries. Talking about how everybody left and how Bill and Audra are about to go back home, and she hasn't gotten any better since looking into the wonderful Tim Curry's eyeballs.
I know the scene you're talking about. It
So
completely blew through my mind, and now you're mentioning Audrey. I'm like, ah.
so Bill picks her up and walks her outside. He's like, "We gotta go home, Audra," and he's getting ready to put her in the cab to go to the airport. And when I say she's spaced out, I'm talking like she's just emotionless walking just through it. And he goes outside and he sees this bicycle that they rode as kids.
Hi ho, Silva, away!
Yeah, he said that every time he rode that thing. So he hops on this bike with her. He minded it is not built for two people. He sits on it and he like sets her sideways so she like sits on the bar. And he's like, "Hold on to me." She ain't going to. She ain't got no.
At this point, this woman is pretty much a vegetable. I mean, she can walk and stuff, but she has no emotion, no reaction, no nothing. She has nothing like a soul inside of her at this point.
So he hops on this bike and he starts riding. And he starts, going into downtown Derry. And he decides, you know what? I'm going to go down this monstrous hill full of traffic. And that's what he does. He's probably going about 30 miles an hour on a bicycle with this woman sitting on this bar in front of him, going into traffic.
That hill is like one of those ones you would see in like San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like those big drop hills or whatever.
And he just goes, "Shwoop." And then she wakes up. And she's like, "Bill, where are we?" And they're in the middle of the road being honked at by people.
She wakes up. She's like, "Oh my God, Bill, where are we?" And he whips this bike to a stop in the middle of a busy intersection. And everyone's like, cars are bumping into each other and whatnot, and everyone's getting out going, "What's good? What?" And he's like, "Oh God, you're back, babe." And they're hugging or whatever, and it's just like there was no other way you could wake her up. Just if you're just gonna be mindless and whatnot, I guess if we got hit by a vehicle, it wouldn't matter too much. It'd either help us or hurt us. At this point, I don't really try anything.
I remember you made that joke. You said, "This is Mike Hanlon's last entry." Audra wasn't feeling any better, so Bill decided to take one more ride on Old Silver, and they got splattered by a bus.
That was Bill's last ride. I guess you could say he got a stop to his stuttering there.
I don't know what it was about that bike. They loved that bike. Something about just, I had to buy this bike when I saw it in the pawn shop.
That got me too. That weird
back and forth musical choice.
This movie was supposed to be about a killer clown, and I swear to God, I forgot about that about halfway through this viewing when Mike and Bill are polishing up Old Silver and riding her around, and they got this. It was almost like a bromance movie at this point. I'm going, there is a clown in this movie, right? Did we just forget he was here?
I felt like Jeff Goldblum at Jurassic Park. There are killer clowns in your killer clown movie, correct? Hello? Ha?
God. Yeah, I think a lot of time was spent, and I don't mind the fact that they did that segment with them playing around with the bike. Now remember, this is the adults. These aren't the kids. These are the adults. I guess it was helping them.
Remember.
It was helping them. It was helping Bill remember, because the only person who remembered anything about Derry was Mike, and that was because he didn't leave town. So he remembered everything. And when Pennywise showed back up, he called all his friends, and they all showed back up, and they were slowly starting to remember things, because apparently once you leave Derry, your mind gets wiped or something. But so I don't mind the segment with the bike. I think maybe it was extended a little bit too long. Maybe the choice of music was a little bit off, but it
sounded like a 90s romance movie.
That's exactly what it is. This is
It sounded like
in the remake, what you don't know is that Mike and Bill are gay. And this is their kind of like little budding romance.
Oh god.
But no, I mean, I think it just ran a little too long, but it was a good segment to show that they were friends,
Yeah.
But once again, the problem is that if this is supposed to be, I don't know how this movie was supposed to be taken, whether it was supposed to be, if this movie was supposed to be scary, or if it was supposed to be funny, or maybe it was supposed to be a little combination of both. But it does have a personality dysfunction on what it wants to be. Because like I said, some moments you got the clown and there's like these really kind of creepy moments, and then you get like a whole 3 minutes of a bicycle scene. And you're like, scary? I don't know.
No, they tried to trick you with the scare with the bicycle cards. That's what it was.
Bicycle cards. The best kind ever. Make the best sounds.
But it had Pennywise on them.
Yes, they did have Pennywise on them. That was.
I need to find me a deck of those cards.
I don't think you're gonna find it. And I think that's gonna be the problem we get into the next movie, is that the next movie, the remake actually plays more on the scariness of the character. And I don't think he's very funny. I've heard quite a bit from people that he's not funny at all, and I'm like, I don't know what the humor of interdimensional space bugs are, but if you're gonna disguise
Watch
yourself
Starship
as a clown,
Troopers.
if you're gonna disguise yourself as a clown, be a clown. Don't be like a clown that just eats people. It's no fun. It's like being a vegetarian T-Rex. You're not doing it right.
I don't know what it is about Tim Curry as this clown. And I just noticed this too. He's always doing this weird, like putting his head on his hand.
I think it was his eyes. Let me see. You got the picture here? You can't really see him. You can't really see him that well, but he always had like. Does Tim Curry have like a kind of like a lazy eye type of thing? Because every time I saw Pennywise like real close up, one of his eyes was always kind of off a little bit. It just seemed off.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in the whole moon scene when he was like talking to the bully, he's like, "Hey, up here." Up here.
so he can leave. I mean, I assume the bully wasn't in Derry. He was in some sort of asylum somewhere. So you tell me Pennywise can go out of Derry?
Unlike Freddy, he can leave his area.
Oh, can he? Maybe it was just because he had some sort of connection to him, which yeah, his eyes are a little bit off in the still photo there. Look at that left one, Jeremy.
Yeah, it is a little lower. I think he does have a lazy eye.
He's got something, and I don't know if that was like a thing they did for him, or if he's, because I didn't notice it in like Home Alone.
I didn't either.
Or any other movie that he was in, I don't really notice it. I just noticed it with him in this one because he's like, maybe it's because they do a lot of close-ups, and he got a little thing going on. But
Don't you wanna?
Don't you wanna? Don't you wanna? Boom, boom, boom. Don't you wanna? Boom, boom, boom.
Musical choice in this movie was funny. Not even gonna lie, they were all over the place.
Yeah, some of it was. Some of it was. Yeah, I mean, it could have been the makeup. It could have been maybe like a contact they had that kind of gave him an unsettling look. But yeah, that eye, that weird.
Well,
Wait,
then,
are you talking about like the actual makeup around the eye that gives it? No, I'm talking about the eye itself. If talking about like his eye actually having like just being off a notch, like he could look straight at you, and this eye is just slightly off, just maybe by like a few centimeters. Just enough to be off-putting. That was the most off-putting thing about Pennywise, except when he did this. He always did that. He was just couldn't like just be like, I got sharp teeth. No, it's just like he always had to. Oh. Hey Jeremy, you gonna snap
Huh.
out of there? You looking into the deadlights?
a little bit.
Don't look into the deadlights, Jeremy.
So no, I was reading this saying that said since it first aired, there has been a lot of speculation about the sewer building pump house, which is where they go into to get to the sewers. Fans wanted to know the location of the real building, and rumor was that it was a built set that was immediately torn down after filming. The real building is the old Bunsen Lake Hydro Plant in Canada, which looked vaguely different in 1990, but after it shut down in the early 2000s, it now retains a more faded look. People can go up to it, but are prohibited from going inside without authorization.
Huh.
We might be making a trip to Canada.
Oh, I go to Canada. Besides, you can't even go inside of it. You can only look at the outside of it.
No, we can get permission to go inside. So,
Who wants to go on a stinky water pump anyway?
on a scale of 1 to 10, Jason, what do you give this second half?
The second half. Okay, so what I give the first half? Did we grade the first half?
I don't think... No, we didn't. We just did the IMDb.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's do the entire movie then.
Hold on. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. The first half with the kids, I'm gonna give it a 7. The second half, I'm gonna give it a 6.
Okay, why?
Overall, the movie probably lands at a 7.
I'm going to give... Okay, well, first off, why?
Why? I get the first half, the more the child segments, because a lot of the Pennywise stuff in that is a bit scarier. And like I said, it's a good build up. It's a good build up to get you excited for this it. And you kind of get to see how he torments each and every one of these kids, alongside, the fact that not only can they not get away from this clown, this entity, but they also have to deal with the bullies and stuff in town. So seeing them come together for the first time and really having a common ground that makes them all unique and different is really nice to see. Like I said, it was much better paced. It was well paced. Everything was like real nice, tight, and I give the second half a lower rating because I think a lot of that loosens up a little bit. You do get to see the great interaction between the adult versions of these characters, and they still, are true to their character, but there seems to be less Pennywise. And when Pennywise is on there, he's not scary. He's just telling these like really bad jokes. And when you do see him in the end, I think the ending is a bit of a letdown, because he shows up as a big spider. You're like, oh my god, and then they all get caught in the deadlights, like moths to a flame. But then she shoots him. He waddles off. They all run after him. They push him over and kill him. That was essentially it. Like, we're not afraid anymore. And it was over. And the whole bully story arc just really kind of irked me a little bit, because I'm like, okay, is this good? Is this gonna lead? Nope, he just rolled over on his knife. That's just lame. That's why I got a lower rating. That, and like I said, some of the pacing was the bicycle scene shouldn't have gone on as long as it should have. There was like certain segments that took too long. I think like maybe like the dinner scene, you could have probably cut down a couple of minutes of that. There's a lot of going around the room with everyone laughing, and it's like, yeah, we get it. I'm glad they're enjoying themselves, but you don't need to keep showing it. So the pacing, I think, for me was a little bit off, and it wasn't as exciting, at least to me.
Makes
I don't
sense.
know. I just wasn't excited. But I mean, overall, if you put the two pieces together, it makes a very solid movie. Like I said, very strong beginning, kind of weaker on the ending, but I'd watch it again. So it's not like it's a terrible thing.
So before I give you my rating, I have IMDb pulled up over here, and you know how it does a little weird little like random scenes right there next to the title at the top.
Uh-huh.
It showed the one of Bev when she's the adult and he's outside the door going,
Wow.
it just, oh god. Okay, so kid version, I give it a 7.5.
7.5. Why?
Same reason. It's a lot better pacing, a lot better cinematography. I think the kids acted better together than the adults did. While both of them acted really well together, I think the kids kind of showed a little bit more of that friendship style acting. You know, you could tell that they're really friends and stuff like that. So I thought it was cool. It just, and it flowed. It just flowed a lot better. Yes, there were a lot of flashbacks, but the flashbacks kind of made sense. They weren't so random. You knew a flashback was coming every time. You knew it. In the second half, I give it a 6.5, because kind of along the lines where, you know, you lose the scare factor with the clown, unless you like really start thinking about why he's doing it the way he's doing it. But like you said, you know, when Ben's driving as an adult and you just have Tim Curry holding some balloons in the back going, and you're just kind of like, okay, bye. There's nothing there. You kind of lose out on that sustenance. Plus, I think Stan was just a weak character, and killing him off like that was kind of blah. So I give it a 6.5. Overall, I give the movie a 7. When put together, like you said, it's not a hump like it should be. You know, it's kind of like this, kind of goes up, and then there's not really a hump to it. It just kind of starts to trickle down into this letdown of an ending. And I think the ending was a letdown. But it could have been a sign of the times. I mean, you have to think you have to work with what you got. It's 1990. You know, you had a mixture of stop motion and green screen for the monster. That scene where it's coming out and they're watching it come out at them, and it kind of switches between the practical effect monster and that stop motion green screen look. Like I said, just sign of the times. But overall, like you said, I'd watch it again. I'd watch it again in a heartbeat. I'd go put it on right now and watch it again.
No, I'm not.
It's
no,
fun.
Not sitting through 3 hours of that movie. Not at the moment. No, sorry, Bob.
So, with that, it's time for the tomato meter. Yay!
Tomato meter, tomato meter, tomato meter, tomato meter.
So most of the movies we've been doing have been splats.
Yeah, that's how we roll. We like really bad movies, apparently.
Well, this
movies we're sitting here going, oh yeah, this is such a great movie. What'd he get? All splat.
This one didn't get a splat. It's not a certified, but it's a tomato.
So it's got a fresh rating.
It's got a fresh rating.
It's not rotten.
let's see what everyone's guess is. Let's see what your...
Critic wise, I'm gonna say 78.
All right. We'll give them a minute to think of their answers. And if you want to go ahead and guess the audience score while they're thinking.
Audience score is gonna be 73.
So 78 and 73.
Yeah, 5-point difference.
All right.
Oh,
Mom's
PJB
PJB doll.
He's got 82. 82. That seems a bit high. All right, Ravenfire, what you got? Oh, and I guess audience is 85. All right, Raven, what you got?
Alien Gathering, Drap Snap. Anybody who's watching can definitely put in. See what we all got.
Say Trap Snap?
No, somebody in the community. It says Drap Snap. Oh. Ravenfire, you got... Ravenfire's got 30 seconds.
Time's up. $3 off.
Tomato meter, 68%.
68%? Are you kidding me? And I got a freshness?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's the critics got 68. That's...
Yep, so some of their comments was, the result featuring a strong cast is far better than any adaptation so far of a King book.
So they thought this was the best adaptation of a Stephen King book. Was Maximum Overdrive?
Children of the Corn?
Was Maximum Overdrive not out at this point?
A 4-hour package makes an eerie supernatural tale spiced with substantial good versus evil, subtext, and musings on the power of friendship.
Wait. Did they say 4 hours?
Yeah, it's not. It's
where they get that extra hour from?
It's a fun house of supernatural horror with copious blood, but little violence. It's creepy, but just too darn corny at times to be the stuff of nightmares or paranoia, unless you happen to be a child.
Yeah, that's probably true. Now that I think about it, it's probably adults didn't find this very scary, but kids probably did. Makes more sense. And it is kind of... what is this rated, Jeremy? Do they have a rating on this, or is it just NA?
NA.
Not rated. So it's not rated?
No. Well, I mean, it was a TV series, so it's not going to have one. So it'd be like N8-13.
I could probably show my kids this.
But one person said, all of the adults form an appealing adult cast, but the young actors who play them as children almost steal the show.
Yeah, I think we were getting to that. I mean, like I said, the whole cast was good, but the kid actors, jeez. The way they came together and whatnot, it just felt so natural. And technically, the adults came together for the first time in a while, and it didn't seem as natural, I suppose.
Yeah. So, audience score, 64%.
Wow. How does this get a fresh rating if everything is a 60?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for. But I think anything above a 50 or anything above a 60 is considered fresh.
Oh, you hear that, Mom? Anything over a 60.
I think. Don't hold me to it. But this, like I said, it deserves these ratings. It's a sign of its times. I highly recommend it to anybody who wants to have a fun movie to watch. If you've got time to kill, even if it's for an hour and a half. Even if it's for an hour and a half, there's always something good to watch about it. But that's all the time we have for tonight. So next week, we are starting the 2 remakes, part 1 and part 2 of it. So we'll be doing it Monday night on Movie Night Monday. And we will see y'all then. Same time, same campfire. You all stay safe. And actually, next weekend, actually, after the next episode, we will be out at Pensacon. Me and Jason both. We'll be out. Yep, we'll be out there talking with some people. We've got some ideas in the works for some future episodes. Hopefully we can get those rolling through, and if we can, we'll let y'all know what they are. But we'll be out there having a good time. So if y'all see us, come say hey. But we will see y'all next week. Y'all have a great night.
Later. Yeah.
When you're a kid, you think the universe revolves around you. You think that you'll always be protected and cared for. Then, one day, you realize that's not true. Because when you're alone as a kid, the monsters see you as weaker. You don't even know they're getting closer. Till it's too late. Here. Take it.
My grandfather thinks this town is cursed. That all the bad things that happen in this town are because of one thing. An evil thing.
Bill, if you'll come with me, you'll float too.
Georgie. I saw something.
The clown. Yeah, I saw him too. You'll float too.
What happens when another Georgie goes missing? Or one of us?
You'll float too.
Are you just gonna pretend it isn't happening like everyone else in this town?
You'll float too.
If we stick together,